This is Jocko Podcast number 119 with Echo Charles and me, Jocko Willink. Good evening, Echo.
Good evening.
On September 11th, 400 miles from the collapsed World Trade Center towers, 36 passengers and crew aboard United Flight 93 remained in airborne purgatory. Starting at 9:30 a.m. for some 30 minutes, 14 of them managed to telephone either loved ones or operators on the ground. Public relations man Mark Bingham got through to his aunt's home in California. "This is Mark," he began. "I want to let you guys know that I love you, in case I don't see you again. Then I'm on United Airlines Flight 93. It's being hijacked." Two other callers from the plane not only provided information but also gleaned vital news from those they phoned. Tom Burnett, chief operating officer for a medical devices firm, made a number of brief calls to his wife, Dina. Speaking quietly, he asked her to contact the authorities and told her that a male passenger had been stabbed, later that he had died. A woman, perhaps a flight attendant, was being held at knife point, and the hijackers claimed they had a bomb. Jeremy Glick, a salesman for an internet services company, also managed to phone. In a long conversation with his wife, Liz, Glick said the hijackers had put on these red headbands. They said they had a bomb. They looked Iranian. The bomb was in a red box, he said. The couple told each other how much they loved each other. Glick said, "I don't want to die." And his wife assured him that he would not. She urged him to keep a picture of her and their 11-week-old daughter in his head to think good thoughts. Burnett's wife, who had been watching the news on television, told him that 2 planes had crashed into the World Trade Center. "My God," he responded, "it's a suicide mission." By the time he phoned a third time after news of the crash into the Pentagon, she told him about that too. Burnett seems to have been seated beside Glick and apparently relayed all this information to him. Were they to do nothing, the 2 men must have agreed they were sure to die anyway when the hijackers crashed the plane. They resolved to fight for their lives. "A group of us," Burnett told his wife, "are getting ready to do something. I'm going to take a vote," Glick said on his call. "There's 3 other guys as big as me, and we're thinking of attacking the guy with the bomb." So began the minutes of brave resistance, the clearly defined act of courage that has lived on in the national memory. Glick and others were equipped in more ways than one to confront the hijackers. Glick was 6'1" and a former college judo champion. Burnett, at 6'2", had played quarterback for his high school football team. Mark Bingham was a huge man, 6'4", and at 31 still playing rugby. A few years earlier, he had fended off a mugger who had a gun. His mother got the impression as he talked from Flight 93 that her son was talking confidently with a fellow passenger. She felt that maybe someone had organized a plan. At 9:42, a GTE Verizon supervisor based near Chicago began handling a call from yet another powerfully built Flight 93 passenger. Todd Beamer, a Star Oracle software salesman, was married with 2 sons, and his wife was expecting again. He first dialed his home number, but either failed to get through or thought better of it. Instead, explaining that he did not want to upset his pregnant wife, he asked the phone supervisor, Lisa Jefferson, to pass along a loving message. As they talked, Beamer suddenly exclaimed, "Shit! Oh my God, we're going down! Jesus help us!" From the passengers around Beamer came prolonged shrieks of terror. Then he said, "No, wait, we're coming back up. I think we're okay now." Shaken, Beamer asked Jefferson to say the Lord's Prayer with him, "Our Father, who art in heaven." Just before Beamer and the operator had begun talking, Cleveland Control lost Flight 93's transponder, the signal that indicates an airplane's location and altitude. At 9:55, the hijacker pilot set a navigational aid relating to the plane's direction. He was heading, it indicated, for Washington, D.C. Jeremy Glick, still on the phone to his wife, Liz, said, "I know I could take this guy with the bomb." Then, joking, he had mentioned that the hijackers had knives. "I still have my butter knife from breakfast." Todd Beamer, continuing his conversation with the GTE supervisor Jefferson, told her that he and a few others were getting together to jump the guy with the bomb. Was he sure that that was what he wanted to do? "Yes," came the response. "I'm going to have to go out on faith. I don't have much of a choice." The plane was flying erratically again. Operator Jefferson heard the sounds of an awful commotion, raised voices, more screams. Then, "Are you guys ready?" And Todd Beamer's voice saying, "Let's roll." A phrase that in family life he'd like to use to get his children moving. "Okay," Jeremy Glick told his wife Liz, "I'm going to do it." His wife told him he was strong and brave and that she loved him. "Okay," he said again, "I'm going to put the phone down, I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to come right back to it." Liz handed the phone to her father, ran to the bathroom, and gagged. Flight attendant Sandra Bradshaw was in the galley, boiling water for the passengers to throw on the hijackers. On the phone to her husband, she signed off quickly. "Everyone's running up to first class. I've got to go. Bye." The cockpit voice recorder registered the moment the hijackers realized what was happening. At just before 9:58, a hijacker asks, "Is there something? A fight?" There's a knock on the door, followed by the sounds of fighting. Then in Arabic, "Let's go, guys. Allah is the greatest. Allah is greatest. Oh, guys, Allah is greatest. Oh, Allah. Oh, Allah. Oh, the most gracious." Then loudly, "Stay back." A male voice, a native English-speaking voice that Tom Burnett's wife has recognized as that of her husband, is heard saying, in the cockpit," followed by a voice exclaiming in Arabic, "They want to get in here. Hold from the inside, hold." Then from several English speakers in unison, "Hold the door." And then from a single English speaker, "Stop him," followed repeatedly by, sit down. Then again from an English speaker, "Let's get them." Flight 93, now down to 5,000 feet, had begun rolling left and right. Jeremy Glick's father-in-law, listening intently on the phone his daughter had handed to him, now heard screams in the background. On the cockpit voice recorder, there is the sound of combat continuing. Then, in Arabic, "There is nothing. Shall we finish it off?" "No, not yet. When they all come, we finish it off." Then from Tom Burnett, "I am injured." The flight data recorder indicates that the plane pitched up and down, climbed to 10,000 feet, turned. Glick's father-in-law, phone clapped to his ear, heard more shrieks, muffled now, like those of people riding on a roller coaster. In Arabic, On the voice recorder, O Allah, O Allah, O gracious. In English, in the cockpit, if we don't, we'll die. In Arabic, up, down, up, down, up, down. From a distance, perhaps from Todd Beamer, roll it. Crashing sounds. Then in Arabic, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest. Is that it? I mean, shall we put it down? Yes, put it in and pull it down. Cut off the oxygen, cut off the oxygen, cut off the oxygen. Up, down, up, down, up, down. More violent noises for as long as a minute. And then apparently from a native English speaker, shut them off. Go, go, move, move, turn it up. Then in Arabic, down, down, pull it down, down. Apparently from an English speaker, down, push, 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 push. In Arabic, hey, hey, give it to me, 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 give it to me. Intermittent, loud air noise on the cockpit recorder. Moments later, in Arabic, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest. There's sounds of further struggle and a loud shout from a native English speaker, no. Two seconds later, in Arabic, in a whisper now, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest. Jeremy Glick's father-in-law, still listening on the ground, heard high-pitched screams coming over the line Glick had left open when he left to join the rush to the cockpit. Then wind sounds, followed by banging noises, as though the phone aboard the plane was repeatedly being banged on a hard surface. After that, silence on the phone. Silence on the cockpit voice recorder. And that is an excerpt from a book called The 11th Day, which came out in 2011 by Anthony Summers and Robin Swan. And we all know what that silence meant. Flight 93 crashed into a field near the Diamond T mine in Stony Creek Township, Somerset County, Pennsylvania, killing 33 innocent passengers. 7 innocent crew members. And 4 demonic hijackers. That day changed my world, and it changed our world, the world as we knew it. And it commenced years and years and years of war that has cost so many lives. And at some point on this podcast, I'm sure we'll go into more details about the horrors of September 11th. There'll probably be multiple podcasts, but for today, I wanted to focus on one aspect of one part of the life of one man on that flight, the man named Jeremy Glick, who, by all accounts, was an amazing human being, a son and a husband and a father. But for those of us who fight or who train martial arts in general, something caught our ears when we heard about the heroics on Flight 93. We heard that Jeremy Glick was a martial artist, that he was a wrestler, and that he was a judoka. And as a wrestler, he was a competitive all-state wrestler for Saddle River Day School in northern New Jersey. And if you know anything about New Jersey wrestling, it's an extremely competitive wrestling state. And beyond that, as a judo player, Glick was an American national collegiate judo champion while he was a student at the University of Rochester. And in September of 2008, 7 years after the incident, September 11th, there was a memorial ceremony at the crash site in Pennsylvania, and the United States Judo Association placed a granite stone there as a memorial with an inscription on it. And the inscription reads, "The United States Judo Association promoted Jeremy Glick to the highest rank of black belt for living the principle of judo. Mutual welfare and benefit, sacrificing his life for our country, September 11th, 2001. Living the principle of judo. And that's a bold statement.